Coming up.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming out today.
In Hampshire, an army of volunteer waste warriors tackle a treacherous fly tip.
I've done a risk assessment for today, and the second lot of fly tipping is risky.
Lay-by crews on the A1 face down atrocious weather, speeding traffic, drunk drivers, and other hidden dangers.
Somebody's taken a dump at the far end, and I'm not going to stand in it. I've done it twice this week already.
While it's high times in Buckinghamshire.
There's the leaf that everyone talks about.
As trainee waste enforcement officers get to grips with fly tips that take criminality to a different level.
It might knock your head off.
From our roads and rivers to our cities and our countryside, fly tipping is everywhere. Last year, more than 1 million illegal dumps cost councils £58 million to clean up. But it's often rural communities hit the hardest. Every year, struggling farmers fork out between £100 and £150 million to clear up dumps on their land.
I've come in to roll the field today, and some lowlifers fly tipped all over our gateway. This is not on.
People whose livelihoods depend on the land.
It can cost thousands of pounds to clear up. It's just demoralising, it grinds you down.
Are at breaking point.
Just completely devastates me, to be honest. You know, just gets you down every time you find it.
But in rural Hampshire, self-made millionaire Martin Montague and his partner in Grime, Glenn Mackay, are leading a fight back on behalf of the farmers.
Because a lot of farmers have just got no money to clean it up. They're on...
Well, he's got to pay for it himself, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Oh, that's disgusting. Nowhere's sacred anymore.
No, not in this country.
After falling victim to fly tippers himself,
I got absolutely sick and tired of my road being shut. It was closed 2 weeks a year through fly tipping. It was so bad, we couldn't get in and out. There was all flies coming in the house. It was just disgusting.
Martin has developed, some would say, a sense of zeal to fix the tide of waste drowning this green and pleasant land.
I'm determined. It is a passion for me. Just want to clean this country up.
Having made his fortune developing software, Martin turned his skills to building a fly tip app, where the fly tip weary nation can post reports,
rubbish as far as the eye can see,
photos and videos.
This is even worse now, spilling out.
To help councils investigate and prosecute the criminal fly tippers responsible. And today, they're responding to the latest call to help.
We were at a rural crime show, and a farmer came up and he'd had a really, really tough time of fly tipping. So we've offered to get him some signs made up and have them put up all around the land here just to help the problem a bit. So we'll just stick it over here. Really prominent spot. They just pull off the main road, tip and go. This extra signage is going to be unlike anything they've seen before. This is completely free of charge. We're doing this. This is just to help support the local farming community.
As self-appointed waste warriors, Martin and Glenn don't act in an official capacity. But that doesn't stop them investigating and tracking down offenders.
I'll just get it on the post first. And we got to...
So you're never a car mechanic, then?
Funnily enough, I was. These are skilled hands I have, you know. Be a work of art, this. No one's going to be missing this bad boy.
They look good.
Unless you are so blind you shouldn't be driving, these will let you know what's coming. A £50,000 fine and prosecution. That's going to make all the difference to people's lives.
They are brilliant.
Yeah, really tough. I love them.
First part of the farm mission complete.
I love them. This is good.
The waste warriors hit the road.
Off we go. Time to tread some more mud in the car.
On their way to answer their next call to help.
We're heading to stables where there's been loads of fly tipping. But it's commercial, and apparently they just keep throwing it down the hill. So local farmers contacted me and asked me to come and have a look. but you should have brought your boots, mate. I think you're going to have to wait this one out.
Oh, well, we'll have a look. Should be all right.
Well, fingers crossed, mate. Otherwise, you're going to get wet feet for the rest of the day. Right, Glenn. Hey, you've got some friends here, mate. Hi, Danny. Nice to see you.
And you, mate? Yeah, all's not good in the countryside.
No, all is not good.
Lorry wheels and a lot of used engine oil's being dumped.
Yeah.
It's being tracked up the lane here. They're tipping it from both ends now.
It's beyond me how it's even getting in there.
There's a rut, what they call a rut, which is an unmade road. They can drive right the way through with about a mile. Whoa, a bit muddy.
With more than a mile of boggy bridleway between them and the fly tip, Martin and Glenn are about to hit their first real challenge.
We can't get through there.
Large-scale fly tipping has more than doubled in the last 6 years. So councils are pulling out all the stops to tackle the scourge of waste.
If I can take some details from you.
Here in Buckinghamshire, the council's call centre handles more than 3,500 calls a week.
It depends on what the waste is. Let me just double check for you.
The information is fed out to officers on the road to chase down and investigate fly tips. In charge is Buckinghamshire's legendary waste enforcement officer, David Rounding. Over the last 16 years, David's skills have helped him investigate thousands of fly tips.
We do have gas bottles, we do have carpet. All of this looks to have come out of one vehicle.
Catch hundreds of offenders.
We've got some extremely good pictures, so, oh dear, bad news for him.
And successfully prosecute more than 750 criminal fly tippers.
Let me show you some pictures from the camera. Do you recognise this as you?
Well, must have been, isn't it?
Everyone knows him. He's famous in Buckinghamshire in the fly tipping world.
And when he's not busy nicking the fly tippers, he's educating the public.
We're here from the council to talk about fly tipping, if you're interested.
But at 55 years young, married dad of 2, David, has a new mission in life.
That fine gentleman, he used to do some work. No, that's me, obviously, when I first joined Buckinghamshire County Council.
Honestly, that's crazy.
Training the next generation of grime busters.
So, this is the future.
Yeah.
21-year-old Matt has been on the job for more than 3 years.
Have a fine set of hair.
Yeah.
While 19-year-old Reese has been an apprentice for just 2 weeks.
The apprentices that we've taken on, they're the same age as my own children and their friends.
Yeah, catch you later. Yeah. See ya.
So I can understand where they're coming from.
And this week, relentless taskmaster David has the perfect motivation for his new recruits. Do well, and he'll buy them a fry-up.
The breakfast is definitely worth fighting for. Always down for a good breakfast, and especially when we've done a cracking job.
Just get in round the side, can't we?
Yeah.
As the first apprentice to undergo the David Rounding School of Fly Tip Investigations,
I'll go for the far one.
Matt is ahead of the game.
Are we racing?
Race that you can find the evidence first. Always like a challenge. He's always testing me, for good reasons, to be better in what I do. It looks like building work, maybe a refurb of some kind. You can't fault what he does. I would be happy to be like him, really. So there's quite a lot of information there. Address, London address. I found a ton of information in mine.
So you got the address?
Yeah.
So that means you won?
I won, yeah. What about you?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing today.
I'm surprised.
Yes, so am I.
And after a year of intense training, Matt has risen up the ranks.
My job title is an assistant enforcement officer, and I'm hoping to become a full officer.
To achieve this, he needs to get results.
There's a report. We have black bags, and it could be possibly cannabis waste.
Notoriously difficult to investigate, waste from marijuana farms is all too common an issue for the teams.
We've helped the police out a lot on many occasions. Obviously, the people who dump this are a lot more secretive of who they are because they're obviously doing a mass cannabis operation, which is highly illegal.
If Matt can find a lead, it could help him make the leap to fully fledged officer.
You never know, they could slip up.
Back at base,
Let's pack up and go.
David's about to hit the road with rookie Reese.
What do your mates make of it? They don't finding it odd you're looking through other people's rubbish and stuff?
I mean, yeah, they do sort of say, oh, you're a posh bin man and this, that and the other.
Posh bin man,
but I
brilliant.
just, yeah, it's quite funny, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
this is really quite a hot topic for us, so I'm buying breakfast if we get something.
Right, cool.
He might be a newbie, but David wants Reese to learn fast. So they're also on their way to a narcotic-linked fly tip.
The waste from cannabis growing is also of interest to the police, because obviously the growing of cannabis isn't legal. Do you remember what the drill is when we get there?
Yeah, take photos before we start rummaging. Make sure you got your gloves on, and then straight ahead.
Dive in.
David, yeah, dive in.
Coming up, Waste Warriors Glenn and Martin get stuck in.
Who would want to come through this to fly tip?
The roadside heroes battling extreme weather, speeding traffic and alcohol-fueled drivers.
So I think the police ought to come down here more often and sort them out, to be honest.
There you go, there's the cannabis plant.
And David's new recruits discover the sweet smell of evidence.
There's a good chance that we will be able to supply some intelligence for police interest.
In a beautiful corner of rural Hampshire, fly tippers have decimated a local beauty spot.
They come in this end and they can drive right the way through with about a mile.
And farmer Danny Bower has called on Waste Warriors Martin and Glenn to help tackle the grime.
Oh, it's filthy down there.
But first, they've got to get to it.
Oh, it makes you wonder how you get up here, doesn't it?
I know, it's
Traffic-wise.
terrible. At least I've got my wellies on today, though.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, great stuff.
Glenn, however, is slightly less well prepared.
I'm regretting it now. My feet are like blocks of ice. We can't get through that.
Oh, I thought I'd sprung a leak then, but I'm all right. Who would want to come through this to fly tip? You just go up the dump, wouldn't you? Ooh. It's like half a workout getting up here, isn't it?
We're being followed.
Much further, Danny?
No, just up here. Not too far. I don't want to put the wind up anybody, but I've never done any first aid, so if you feel yourself going...
This is the heart of the countryside we got here, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is mainly for horse riders, walkers, everything you want.
Oh, I can see it coming up.
You can see it now.
Stuff in the woods there.
After a 20-minute yomp through the mud, the full scale of the fly tip is revealed.
Here's your tyres here, look.
Oh, yeah, look. Crikey.
That's only some of them.
Blimey. So is it all along here? Oh, yeah, I can see the cans of oil up there.
When you walk along a country lane, you don't expect to see...
No.
You don't expect to see this. And then we've got oil.
Crikey, look at that.
I mean, this is a can of dirty old engine oil, and there you go.
A drum there, a little chemical drum.
I don't know. There's evidence where they just tipped it down the hill up there. Just took the top off and just tipped it, let it run down the road.
What, took the tubs away?
Yeah.
That's dreadful.
Yeah.
Criminal fly tippers have strewn oil cans, truckloads of lorry tyres, and suspicious chemical barrels all over the woodland beauty spot.
We're in a national park. We care about the environment.
Yeah, it's dreadful. Totally dreadful. There's a load of other fly tipping at the other end of this lane that they've dumped and set fire to stop it being evidence. This has got to be sorted out. It's beautiful countryside, and people are just abusing it like this. It's terrible. It makes me feel sick to the pit of my stomach to see it.
When fly tips end up on private land, it's farmers like Danny who have to shoulder the costs.
This is going to want some work, and, you know, especially being very careful with the oil.
Hard-to-access terrain, potentially dangerous chemicals, and the sheer amount of waste make this a tricky fly tip to tackle. But Martin has always got a plan.
What I'm going to do here is going to get the community involved in clearing this up. Someone's been a really determined tipper to get rid of this, and we're going to need a really determined community to clean it up.
Martin's come out here with some good morals, and he's seen this, and he wants to do something about it. And plus all the people who are going to volunteer and help. It just shows that I'm not the only one who cares, do you know what I mean? It's great.
Glenn will still be playing in the water somewhere.
I'm over here.
Great.
Removing fly tips from difficult-to-access bridleways might be challenging. But even when clear-up crews can drive directly to the waste, there can be issues. Drivers' safety means the UK's 250,000 miles of roads and motorways need a network of laybys. But they also provide convenient sites for criminal gangs to illegally dump lorry loads of rubbish, house clearance waste,
Toys, paddling pool, dog bed.
Dog bed.
and other unpleasant surprises.
I've got a gentleman defecating in the ditch. That's him.
Oh, ugh. It's 7 a.m. And in Huntingdonshire, as the specialist team of clearance operatives are assigned their daily tasks,
Don't forget me biscuits.
it falls to old friends and colleagues Clive and Steve to get stuck into the county's laybys.
Have you got your lunch bag, Clive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one. Right, good to go.
I love you. I don't love
This
you.
is not a two-way
I don't
street.
love you in that way. I love you in, you know.
Oh, you love me like my brother?
Does your brother love you too, then?
No, because I haven't got a brother.
Where are we going today, then, boss?
Plan basically is we'll go south on the A1.
The A1 has one of the highest levels of fatalities of any major road in the country.
Working on a live carriageway like this has its challenges. You're always looking over your shoulder towards the oncoming traffic, because if somebody brakes erratically or they lose it or two cars collide, they might come barrelling in.
You're always on a heightened state of alert when you're in these places. Like, great big things like that coming past. We don't get any danger money, no.
The danger posed by speeding traffic is one thing, but the evidence of what some drivers are consuming is worse.
A load of beer cans, usual, over here. 12, 15 beer cans there. It's all export, strong stuff and cider, so.
I think that's a wine bottle, vodka bottle.
I'm always amazed at how much alcohol is consumed in laybys. Whatever they're drinking here, they're getting back in a vehicle.
There were between 230 and 270 fatalities on Britain's roads in 2017, where the driver or rider was over the alcohol limit.
I think the police ought to come down here more often and sort them out, to be honest. It's just dangerous, isn't it?
But drivers under the influence isn't the only danger this pair face.
But I wonder who's going to stand in the big pile of poo first. Because you did yesterday, didn't you, or was it me? No, it was me first yesterday.
No, you took the first part of the poo
Right,
yesterday.
yeah, and you had the second one.
Some people have actually conveniently defecated in some bags here, so basically human shit, and they've just thrown it down here in the ditch. If I stand in it, I'll know. We've had 3 large bottles of urine so far. Need a new bag. This one's getting heavy. I'm going to nick his bag.
But 3 bottles of urine pales into insignificance when Steve reveals his haul.
A mobile toilet. They've used that as a toilet, look. That's disgusting, isn't it? But I'd rather them go in that and put a lid on it. At least this chap has been thinking of me. Nasty.
Second lay-by of the day de-defecated, Steve and Clive's thoughts turn to their stomachs.
Oh, it's nearly dinner time anyway. Cup of tea time.
You and your breaks.
But before they can unwrap their sarnies, eagle-eyed Clive spots something.
Oh, hello, what we got here on the right-hand side?
Oh, dear.
That shouldn't be there.
Pots of poo and bottles of wee don't usually come with names and addresses attached.
That'd be brilliant if we find a fly tip and we find some evidence in it, wouldn't it?
It would be nice.
So this roadside fly tip is a rare opportunity to hunt for clues. Fly tipping is illegal, but some dumps are more illegal than others.
Got a lot of cards. This is possibly a theft of someone's personal belongings.
From smash and grabs.
You can see there's a broken glass in there. That looks like a window's been put through on a car, and these have been taken from there.
To criminal gangs dumping their waste.
This is fly tipping on a huge scale. This is organised crime.
Investigators often find themselves handling waste linked to other crimes.
What's that box over there?
Yeah, certainly cannabis. Sadly, around here, there's quite a few places obviously growing cannabis.
In England, around 255 tonnes of illegal cannabis is grown every year. And in Buckinghamshire this week...
I put my high-vis on, or?
Yeah.
David has had to split his team across 2 different dumps linked to the black market drug trade.
Just launched in.
And David never misses a training opportunity for his latest recruit.
How many dumps are we looking at here, do you think?
1, 2, maybe.
I think maybe this is not the same as that.
No.
And I do think that one was there before.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's an old one.
That was it.
While Reese gets to grips with the green stuff, on the other side of the county, Matt's getting stuck into the same issue.
I assume those are where you put the stalk in for the cannabis plant, keeps them hydrated, and it's just like a little hydration cube where they'll put all the growth enhancer and a lot of those. And this one's just cannabis plants. There's the leaf that everyone talks about. The smell's really pungent, so this has obviously happened quite recently. It stinks, it really does.
Because the tops of the plants are the valuable parts, the main body and leaves are often discarded. If Matt can come up with some evidence, it will be another step towards becoming a fully fledged investigations officer. But clues are tough to come by.
A name and address would be your hopeful in this sort of case. Someone could easily slip up and throw something wrong away that could make us trace them. Cardboard is always worth a check in case there's any name and addresses. No. I've done everything I can do here.
Matt might have come away empty-handed.
Our team will come and clear it. There's a specialist way, so they have to dispose of it properly.
But at least he got stuck in, while his junior colleague Reese needs a bit more encouragement.
Do you want to have a look in those sacks there? I think, Reese, it might knock your head off. Smell that one?
Where's that one smell?
Happy?
Yeah.
Not that happy. You're looking at a maximum 5 years imprisonment for dumping of waste. I think there's a good chance that we will be able to supply some intelligence material for police interest, and we will do that. Like, that might be worth just to look at, just to see what it is. What is it?
Little receipts.
OK.
Despite a good black bag deep dive, David and newbie Reese also come up empty-handed. But David always has a trick up his sleeve.
We have been keeping this lay-by under surveillance because we have filmed people dumping cannabis waste here before. So the next thing for us to do is to check what the camera recorded.
Just as soon as Reese can find it. Coming up, Glenn uncovers hidden dangers in a countryside tip.
Look at those edges. Kids are coming through here. They fall over, they're going to be in hospital, stitches, anti-tetanus, everything.
Huntingdonshire's roadside warriors come over all Shakespearean.
There's a Richard III, right on the end there.
And can Reese and David catch the cannabis farmers in the act?
Let's have a look.
In the beautiful South Downs National Park, there's a blot on the landscape.
When you walk along a country lane, you don't expect to see...
No.
You don't expect to see this.
This has got to be sorted out.
So self-declared waste warrior Martin Montague and his sidekick Glenn Mackay have been drumming up volunteers.
He's dragged you into this, then?
Calling in favours.
Oh, that's Steve. Yay, Steve!
And turning on the charm.
Joe, you're looking rather glamorous, darling. Joe's a local author.
In order to pull the local community together to clean up the countryside.
Well, I think what you're doing is a brilliant job. You know, you're making it more pleasant for everybody else.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
No, thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming out today. Today, we're going to clean this wonderful piece of Hampshire up. There's 2 lots of fly tipping here. There's a load just up the track that's been burnt. I've done a risk assessment for today, and the second lot of fly tipping is risky. But we'll do the first bit first, and then we'll see who's up for that next bit after. Right then, anyone want a lift? Hop in the back of this. All aboard? Oh, you're a heavy lot.
Because one route into the dump is flooded, the volunteer filth fighters have to trek up a mile of muddy track to get to it.
There we go. OK, this is the other side of the woods as to yesterday. We're going to do this part of the track. It's typical fly tipping. It's probably the same people. There's another drum here, loads of cans, bits and pieces. But what they've done here is they've burnt it, because there was obviously some evidence in there. There's a caravan base, and they dumped it, and it had wheels on it, and then someone stole the wheels, so that's stuck there. So we just get this cut up. Go gadget disc cutter.
There's so much bad stuff in here. We've got tins, we've got plastic, so we've got to clear this foliage off. Look under there, another tin.
It's the same colour as the leaves because it's gone rusty, so where it's all orange, it's hard to spot. So if you shift through it, you can see it easier.
Look at it. Look at those edges. If kids are coming through here, having a walk, they fall over, they're going to be in hospital, stitches, anti-tetanus, everything.
It's not Roman, that's for sure.
Thanks. Right, he'll be back for another load in a minute. Many hands make light work.
Several tractor loads later,
There you go, Shane.
the team can move on to the second tip.
What a difference. Just looks so much cleaner and people can get through here now.
Only this time, they can't get any heavy machinery in to support them. And that's a problem.
Now you can see what we're up against.
Dumped down a steep embankment, this waste is both potentially hazardous and in a precarious position.
We're going to have to be very careful, and people are going to have to be very aware of what they're doing.
Getting it out by manpower alone is a challenge.
Not only is it destroying the environment, it's actually putting people at risk here now.
Over in Huntingdonshire, lay-by clearers Steve and Clive are less concerned with access than they are with the hunt for clues.
Looks like it's sort of been a drinking party, but we'll look for evidence.
I had a bit of cabbage.
Having dealt with way too many cases of untraceable human excrement today.
Hello. Morning.
Eagle-eyed Clive spotted a fly tip someone's been silly enough to drop onto his patch.
Lots of cans, bits of plastic bottles. That could have all been recycled, but no, instead they decided to chuck it out here on a country lane.
Oh, yeah, bingo, here's the toll receipt, yeah.
Did they pay by card?
Yeah, they did.
Right, keep that.
£6.50.
Oh, bingo, here we go.
That's the one you want, isn't it? That's a prescription.
Prescription. Hello, Rob, it's Clive from St Neots 1.
Armed with this lead, Clive calls it into HQ in the hope the prescription will help give the fly tippers a taste of their own medicine.
Bye. I'm going to photograph all the information that we've found with names and addresses, hand it over to enforcement, and they'll run with it. And I must admit, I take great pleasure in forwarding this and hope we get a prosecution. Let's hope then that in a few days' time they'll be getting a knock on the door asking for an interview.
You've got another prescription with the same address on there.
Oh, second one.
This one's for codeine again.
Codeine again.
She's on the codeine, isn't she?
Yep.
If the evidence comes good, the fly tipper responsible for this lot is gonna need more than some painkillers.
Right, on to the next one.
With their investigation done, the lads decide to brave the weather for just a little bit more lay-by work.
There's a big Richard up there on the end, look.
A Richard? Didn't rather perch that at the end.
There's a Richard III. Right on the end there, look, a nice big one.
Shakespearean, it's not.
Somebody's taken a dump at the far end. And I'm not going to stand in it. I've done it twice this week already.
There's more work to be done, but as the weather turns worse, Clive calls it a day.
We're getting a lot of spray from the lorries and passing cars. They can't see us. Not so easy for us to see them. If anyone aquaplanes, they'll come into us like a cannonball. So, too dangerous, time to get off.
And with half a ton of waste removed, there's only one bit of clean-up left to do.
Now I'm going to clean my boots.
Clive always cleans his boots. He's ex-military, so they're always the shiniest boots on the firm, so...
In one of the lay-bys, I stepped on a landmine. In other words, a human turd. I mean, yesterday you got two, didn't you?
Both on the right foot.
Both on the right foot.
Yeah.
So he doesn't watch where he puts his right foot.
Yeah.
Back in Buckinghamshire, David Rounding and his new recruits have been trying to sniff out some cannabis farm fly tippers.
Just come back out again and check there's no other image.
But the best laid plans of mice and waste enforcers can often mean...
We have an issue with the camera on this occasion. It has stopped working. So on this occasion, we've got nothing.
The cameras don't always perform.
A bit frustrating, but there's not a lot we can do about it.
But Reese has one last chance to impress the boss today and hopefully win his breakfast as they get called out to another regular fly tip hotspot.
This particular area has been very heavily hit by fly tipping for a long time. It's reasonably heavy drug use and prostitution area, so it's worth bearing in mind.
So I suppose there's kind of an element of risk where I could put my hand in the bag and touch a needle or something, or...
It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
It's just there's a chance of something sharp, yes, but gloves absolutely essential for this one.
Responding to one of the council's 3,500 calls a year, David's cooked up a plan to feed his young apprentices enthusiasm.
It's such an important area for us to get a case out of. It would be really, really good. And so obviously the breakfast will be on me. Anything particular I can get you?
Maybe an extra bit of bacon or something in there if we can always get it in it. What about yourself?
Well, the place I'm thinking of does a fantastic vegetarian breakfast because it's no piggy for me.
No piggy for you.
No. Let's go and have a look. We've got maybe a dozen sacks. May well be something in there for us. And there may well be one or two things to avoid as well, so we'll have a look and see what there is.
You can find anything in here, really, you never know, but I feel like needles or drugs, probably most likely. I've just got to be careful, really. I've just got to be cautious when I'm opening the bag.
So, carefully, let's have a look and see what we can find.
Cool.
Remember, black pudding's on me.
Oh, I've got something.
Obviously hungry for a win, Reese strikes gold almost before David starts his rummage.
Well done.
Well,
we need to see the date as well.
8th of November, 2019.
OK, that's very recent. Well done. Excellent. That's just what we're after. Reese has found a couple of letters, and they are local letters, so what this looks like to me is that people are putting the bags out for collection in the wrong place. This is the kind of thing that could result in a fixed penalty notice. Reese has done very well, but as ever, I'm coming up second place at the minute, so I'm going to have to pull my finger out.
I've clearly got a natural hack to it, haven't I?
Breakfast is on me at the minute.
With Reese's breakfast in the pan, Matt needs to pull his finger out if he's to get his share of the bacon baps.
We've got building material, a bit of household waste, and hopefully some paperwork, or we can trace where it came from.
Look out, Martin's about.
And Martin's volunteers need a battle plan to reach the waste other clearers just can't reach.
What would Tarzan do?
Whether it's the old telly you don't want anyone else to watch, or the packaging from the new one you can't be bothered to put in the bin, Dumping your household rubbish anywhere that takes your fancy is a risky business. And in Buckinghamshire, seasoned waste enforcement officer David Rounding will leave no stone unturned in his bid to catch you.
I've got a receipt for the purchase of a travel card. That's the kind of thing that we can trace.
But after more than 30 years catching waste offenders, 55-year-old David has decided to put a succession plan in place.
How many dumps are we looking at here, do you think?
1.
By recruiting the next generation of enforcement officers.
What do your mates make of it?
I mean, yeah, they do sort of say, oh, you're a posh bin man and this, that and the other.
Posh bin man.
But
Just 2 weeks into his apprenticeship, 19-year-old Reese is learning on the job.
Good, well done. Nice one. That's just what we're after.
Whilst 21-year-old Matt, close to becoming a fully fledged investigations officer, has started to handle his own cases.
We find waste from all over the shop. Mostly come straight off the M25. We're very close. So sadly, we get a lot of London's waste. We've got building material, a bit of household waste, and hopefully some paperwork we can trace where it came from.
Buckinghamshire Council spent hundreds of thousands of pounds last year cleaning up major fly tips like this. So it's vital they gather evidence in an attempt to recoup their costs.
The stuff that we like to find in piles like this is stuff that's really distinctive. This isn't your everyday clock, so someone's going to know where this has come from, and hopefully that will lead us to who dumped it.
But Matt needs to clock something more solid if he wants to impress the boss.
This looks like a MOT certificate. I've got vehicle registration, got a name, a signature, an address. I think that's a Kettering postcode.
With another result in the bag, Matt is one step closer to earning his stripes as a fully fledged waste enforcer. And a hot breakfast.
Searching through waste like this, honestly, you will not get much better than that. You honestly won't. We've got everything we need to follow up.
But while Matt might have struck lucky, not all fly tips are as easily resolved. In the heart of the South Downs National Park, Martin Montague's clear-up volunteers have been stopped in their tracks.
Literally, we are going to have to abseil down.
4 hours into their task.
We can't get that up.
They're struggling to remove hazardous oil and waste. Fly tip down a steep embankment.
Cold snap's coming in. That's going to become brittle. It's just going to split open, and that whole area is going to be oiled.
Just 1 litre of oil can contaminate over 1 million litres of water, so the team are desperate to get it off the site.
Such a threat to the countryside, and it's really heartbreaking, really.
Just think what that's doing to badger sets and rabbits. And...
Every animal's exposed to this, isn't it? So we'll just have to work out a way of trying to get this up safely.
Look out, Martin's about.
Oh, watch out.
Thankfully, they've got Magic Martin.
What would Tarzan do?
Human chain, that's what we want to do, isn't it? That's it, so we human chain it up.
Right, just chuck them over the
Look
back
at this,
there.
teamwork in action, cleaning the countryside up. I said, boys and girls, bacon rolls on the way.
Some in there.
Oil in that one.
Yeah, brute force seems to be them. Christ. You two had your Weetabix this morning, then?
We did,
yeah. Anything that's got oil in it, we've got to dispose of separately.
Can't believe how much has come out, actually.
No one had anticipated just how much waste was there.
This ain't all going to fit on the skip, is it? Right, the empty one's on now, yeah?
We're finding today so much more than I would have expected. I knew there would be a lot, but this is a hell of a lot. And the fact that it's under trees and bushes and we've got to get right in there to get them out, people have actually gone to effort to get rid of this stuff.
It's all very similar waste, similar drums, they're all full of oil, tyres. It's the same person who keeps coming back, obviously. So I'm determined we're going to catch them and we'll prosecute them.
Martin and Glenn won't prosecute offenders themselves, but any evidence they find will be passed on to investigators.
We naturally go through to try and find any evidence of where this has come from.
It all seems to be from a garage. Pots of oil, all these tyres and everything. So you just need one receipt saying from so-and-so garage, and it'd be great.
Yeah, there's no evidence here. But one day, we will stop this. We will catch these people without doubt.
We'll get you.
We will.
And as the clear-up comes to a successful conclusion, Martin totals up.
250, 350, that's about £400 to get rid of those today. So you can see why someone's dumped them here. It's just pure greed. You can't leave our planet like this. You can't have oil leaching in the ground. You can't have people that don't care. We've really got to get behind this and fix it. All right, guys, so we've got 1 barrel of oil, 8 drums of oil, 10 lorry tyres, 5 car tyres and 20 motorbike tyres, and a whole skip. I'd just like to say thanks to everyone for coming out today. It's amazing. And we've pulled all of this out of the woods and off the green lane for people. It's a great job. It's so appreciated by everyone. Thank you. The penalties aren't tough enough. We really need to get tough on these people, make a difference, take them to court, send them to prison, prosecute them, make an example of these people. It's not socially acceptable to bring your crap into the countryside and just dump it.
Didn't come for your interview, but...
Oh, thank you.
There you go, boss.
Yeah. Keep that with that bag. Let's see if we find anything else.
That's the one you want, isn't it? That's a prescription.
Prescription.
All set up now, ready to go to catch the villains coming along doing the fly tipping.
Next time.
Oh, dear.
The Northumbrian sewage team face more than they bargained for.
Oh, poo sausage.
I'm Helen from Environmental Health.
In Worcestershire, the food inspectors are out in force.
Do you normally keep your eggs up there all the time?
We don't have any rats here.
And in Braintree...
It's disgusting. I found turds, man.
They're on the hunt for some illegal and devious dumpers.
We have got a guy over his truck at the minute.
There's no facilities. People are going to toilet side of the road.